want to be a business, then learn the business aspect.
Right.
Learn constantly new things for your photography or your art, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Just always learn new techniques, new things to make it better. For me, I feel like customer service goes a long way.
Yeah.
And serving other people. Like that's what I'm doing here is with my photography is I'm serving other people.
In this episode, I had the opportunity to speak with Jessica Landrum, a photographer based in Sonoma County and serving the wider Bay Area. She discusses her photography style, her initial foray in the world of artistry, and her passion to serve. This is episode 3 of the Infinite Table podcast, Creator Sessions. Infinite Table Podcast, Creator Sessions, Episode 3. What's up, everyone? I am with the one and only legendary Jessica Landrum. Thanks for being on the show, Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Jessica Landrum, she is a photographer who serves Sonoma County and the Greater Bay Area. I met Jessica when she was working at the Coast Guard Exchange here on base. And I was told through a word of mouth from my coworkers that, you take photographs for family members here on base, but you also take photos for other people, not in military?
Not necessarily only military, but that just seems to be my biggest clientele here just because we live on the base.
Yeah.
But definitely other non-Coast Guard affiliated families too.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so she's now part of my networking peers. So she's a good friend of mine who I made a free promo video for, and Jessica referenced me with a client, with a lieutenant commander in the Coast Guard, and that was a baptism. So that was pretty cool that you were. I was really thankful. I was just like, wow, I get to expand a little bit, get to learn about more of the industry, and then get to network. I met a photographer through that, Stella.
Awesome.
Yeah, so she was the one. Stella was the one who referenced me to Golden State Creative Company.
Okay.
She was the one who said, "Oh yeah, you should just start going to these photo style shoots, so you can have content towards social media or your website and stuff like that." So. How did you start? How did you start into photography?
Well, originally when I started, that was probably about 14 years ago, and I didn't plan on doing it as a business. I just wanted to take good pictures of my family, and so we got a camera. I didn't know how to use it. We just took pictures. All my pictures were blurry. I didn't know what I was doing, and my husband would take pictures, and those looked nice. I'm like, what are you doing to make your pictures look like that? And he said, I just pushed the button. And I'm like, I'm pushing the button, but it's not looking like that. And so I just started, I took out the manual for the camera and I started reading through it. None of it made any sense to me. I didn't know what any of those words meant. So then I started Googling the words. And then I'm self-taught, so I just learned all on my own. And then I started figuring out what the settings meant, what each one did, and I practiced. And so that's how I started. And then my pictures were getting a little better. And then I just had family, friends who saw my pictures, and they were like, will you take our pictures? And sure, okay. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still going to take your pictures. And I think mostly what attracted the clients to me is my connection with them. Even though technically I didn't know what I was doing with the camera, I think just the connection with the children and the families and making them feel comfortable. And so they started telling other people about me, and I still had no desire to be a business with that. This will probably go into your next question.
Yeah.
So I just had more and more people asking me to take their pictures, and I decided, well, they wanted to pay me, and I had no idea.
Right.
What would you pay me? I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever, just whatever you feel like giving me. $10 here, go buy me lunch, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it for fun. And so that started. And then I was like, well, if people are going to give me money, I probably should really figure out what I'm doing and learn how to do this legally. So that's where I started.
Right. So like looking back, when you said that your husband, he just pushes the button on the camera and it doesn't come out as crisp, right? So most people like shoot automatic. The people that don't know basic, just point and shoot automatic, right?
Yes.
That's how I started too.
Yes.
I guess it's the go-to for people who just want to take a quick photo.
Because, and if you don't understand what anything means, it'll do it for you, and you just push a button.
Right. So when your pictures came out like crispy and looks very professional, were you also playing around with cameras like manually? Like how did you?
Well, at first I started in auto, and mostly whenever I saw his pictures, even though he didn't know what he was doing, I could see the bokeh in the background, and I was like, what is making it look like that? Mine is just blurry all around and nothing is in focus, and he had no idea what I was talking about. So when I just started learning what those words meant, and then I still was on auto at the beginning, but I was more aware of, the distance between my subject and the background and those kinds of things. It was probably about 12 years ago, whenever we lived in California again at that time, and I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had a 3-year-old son, and we were only here for a short amount of time, and so I wasn't working anywhere. I was at home, and I decided that's when I'm gonna really learn the business aspect and really learn how to use settings and get off of auto. So I had time to really study that and practice it with my kids a little bit. I still hadn't become a business just yet. I was still in that learning mode, and didn't really think that I was going to have a business with it. I was like, it's just for fun. I'll just photograph friends' kids and things like that. And then once I really started learning that, and then learning the equipment that I needed, if I really wanted to dig into this and really do it, then I needed to be legal and get the equipment that I needed and make money from it.
Right.
So then we moved to Alabama, and I was teaching before that. And then just with moving with the military life, it just didn't fit to be able to move my teaching licenses around all the different states and the cost of that. So I really decided I wanted to make photography full time. And so I looked up business permits and how to do all of those things, and then started very cheap.
Yep.
But that was a good time to practice learning how to shoot in manual mode, and I can adjust all the settings and all of that. So yeah, it kind of started taking off from there.
Nice. Very creative, huh? Photography is it's a thing of its own. Anybody can point and shoot, but like if you really want to take, professional photos, you really have to know the camera. You got to know the disadvantages and advantages and the different types of lenses. So there's this filmmaker that I follow on YouTube, and he said that you can have a really good camera, right? You can master the camera that you have, but you got to have good lenses. Yes. He said metaphorically, he said a good camera with crappy lenses is like having a NASCAR with crappy tires.
Yeah. You can only go so far.
Yeah, you can only go so far. And do you shoot at a flat flat image where you can color grade easy, or?
Oh, raw.
Raw. Yeah. That's what I mean.
I do shoot in raw. Basically, they're larger files, and it just has in the camera, when you shoot in JPEG, which is non-professionals usually shoot JPEG because they have no reason to shoot raw. The camera makes minor adjustments, a little sharpening, a little contrast, all of that. But when you shoot in raw, it's basically all the data that the camera can pull from it in that one file, and then I go in manually and put in all the adjustments that I want. I add the contrast, I add the sharpening, the colors, all the things that I want into my image. Yeah,
absolutely. Awesome. And so with a business, as a solopreneur, right? As a solopreneur, because I know I'm going through some challenges right now. You got to learn the ins and outs of the business. You can't just be the creative person.
Yeah.
Then you got to learn how to be entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to learn lead generation, and then you got to be managerial in a way.
Yes.
So that's how you start off. So you said that you started with friends and family, and then they just started referencing you with other people.
Yeah, and they started telling people, and it kind of like snowballs and gets going, and going into the creativity. Like, I feel like people would tell me, you have an eye for this. And I'm like, I guess so. To me, it's just a natural thing. Yeah. There's some things that are just natural. And so that's just the way I see it. And that's how I shoot it. Something that's not natural for me is the business aspect.
Right.
It's hard. That does not come naturally to me. And I'm trying to learn it and how to, market and be a business owner and because I want to create. I want to take the pictures. I want to edit them, and I
Right.
want people to tell everybody about me.
Right.
But it takes a lot more than that to really get going, and that's why I'm learning, and I'm trying to learn how to sell my work because I just want to take the pictures and I want you to love them, and then you have them. But as a business, I need to be able to make profit from that, and I need
Right.
to learn how to sell my things
Right.
and to find the people who want to buy it. So that doesn't come natural to me. That is hard. That's something I struggle with and something that I'm working on.
Right, right, yeah, yeah. It's not, yeah. Some people do have that natural skill
Yes.
of being, an extrovert and
Yes.
selling, learn how to sell and stuff
Being
like that.
business, and I feel like the biggest part, another question that you have on the list that I'm going to go into is making a livable wage on this. I feel like I could be the most creative person in the world, but that's only going to take me so far. The
Right.
business skills, that's what's really going to push you over to have the ability to make a living off of this art. So still little bits, and I'm always learning, and always even learning creativity. There's new things that you can learn on that. So slowly building up that block, and gonna bust through it one day.
Yeah, bust through it one day. Yeah, you will. And you've been booked out.
Oh yeah,
You always get booked. I mean, that's pretty good.
Oh yes, I have to say, like it's really great, and with the limited amount of marketing that I actually do most of it is word of mouth, because again, it's that connection that I have with my clients,
Right.
And they really feel safe and just comfortable in front of my camera, that they just start telling their friends, and it just that's my biggest advertisement for myself, I guess. That's how I get most of my clients.
Is word of mouth.
It's just word of mouth.
Yeah, some people some creatives, like they do really well with social media.
Yeah.
Like people see their work in social media, Instagram, Facebook. But other people, they get word of mouth too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome.
And I do love those clients because they already come to me wanting to be with me, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. I guess they've heard how I am and how people feel with me, so they're excited to work with me, versus someone who doesn't know anything about me and they're expecting great pictures, but they kind of like, I don't really know what I'm getting into. So there's not that, they don't have that full investment in me just yet until they are in the shoot.
Right.
So.
Right. So let's rewind back a little
Okay.
bit. So when I attend these photo style shoots and I'm working with photographers, they know how to direct these models. It's like, hey, can you guys, cross your legs? Can you do this with your dress? Can you look this way, look that way, walk a little?
Yeah.
How did you learn that? Like, is that what you did too with your skills? Like, how did you progress from that?
Some of it is learned. I watch body language, and I can just intuitively see how someone moves naturally and what looks good for them. And then some of it, there are posing classes out there. There are things you can watch on YouTube to see how to pose better. And then those are just skills that you put like in your toolbox that you just pull out as you're going. But every single pose isn't going to work for every single person.
Right.
So you have to kind of be able to read people and see how they move, and then just go based on that.
Yeah, you just kind of go, like, you had to go with the flow. Like, like you said, read people and make them comfortable in a way. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be naturally funny too. If they want to make them laugh and make them smile.
I would love to be funny. I find myself awkward funny. Yeah. So then I'll just do something very awkward to make people laugh. I guess whatever gets the smile.
Right. And have you done weddings? Like
I have. I haven't done any in California, but I have done some in the past. They're not my most favorite thing to do, just because they're very time consuming and very stressful. And
it's an all day shoot.
Oh yeah. And then that's just the one day. Then you have all the editing after and all the work that goes into that. It's just, I prefer families more. And so weddings mostly are, friends of friends, or people who say, hey, my friend's getting married. Can I send them to you in that way? So I don't really advertise weddings. I don't have that in my on my website or in my portfolio, really. But if someone contacts me, then I have examples that I can share with them, and I have packages. I just don't advertise that too much. I only book a few.
Right. What's your favorite shoots? Just families? Just family?
My specialties are family, children, newborn maternity, and then boudoir. So I don't,
boudoir, okay.
yeah, I do also do boudoir, and I don't have a whole bunch of that on my site just because those are private images. So I usually have a lot of people contact me, and then we discuss all of that.
Yeah, I've seen boudoir photos. I was like, whoa, like really risque. I'm like, whoa. But I guess that's one of photographers have to be somewhat well rounded in a way. They just learn different types of niches and stuff like that. But photography, it really is a really cool thing because I thought, this is how actually photography is what led into my videography.
Yeah.
I actually liked working with cameras.
Okay.
And I didn't want to, I guess I kind of, like I said in multiple podcasts before, I've always kind of like disregarded that calling. And then until I picked up the camera and I was like, you know what, I like shooting video. Yeah. But then a lot of video aspects too, it kind of goes back to photography because I have to learn ISO settings, aperture, frame rate, and all that. So it's pretty cool. Like if you learn the basics of photography, you kind of like, it carries over to videography also.
And I've done small little snippets of video on my camera, but I do have to say that videography is different with photography, as in like capturing that motion and the ways that you film that is different than how, as a still photographer, how I see things. Yeah. So kudos to you because that's it's a hard thing to learn too.
Yeah, because it's more, videography is more visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, with people and kids and with music and background and
and you have to add in the lead in and the lead out,
the transitions,
and the transitions, whereas I can just direct you all day long and just snap away, and I can tell a story by pictures but not an actual motion.
Right. Have you worked with other videographers like in weddings before?
As far as working with, like, I meet them at the wedding, talk to them, move out of their way.
Right.
And they move out of my way.
Right.
But I haven't actually, like, I've not worked with one-on-one with someone and gone to a shoot with a videographer like that before. Okay. Besides you coming to mine.
Right. Yeah. And at these photo style shoots, we just make the photographer the director. Yeah. And then whatever he or she tells the model to do, we just go ahead and just do a little thingy, with a gimbal and do a little movement here and there. So
how do you find when you're doing that, because you don't really know what the photographer is going to direct the model to do, so you just like always like ready with whatever's going to happen?
Right, exactly, because I like to think of continuously recording is always a perfect shot. So whatever shots you get after, post-production, it's like, oh, that was a good shot.
Yeah, good.
And then I also got to learn in these photo style shoots, I got to learn my own directorial skills. So I'm actually building that confidence too, because I'm a very introvert person. Okay. And so I get to tell the model, hey, could you, when I say 1, 2, 3 action, could you look up the camera and smile and stuff like that? So yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking in a way because I was just like, man, this is my first time directing. But I guess in Hollywood too, and cinematography and directing, it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. Right. So. Well,
one thing to help you with that I've learned, because very introverted, but I've had people watching me from the outside and they tell me this every time, that something about when I have the camera and I'm in a shoot, like I just transform. It just happens naturally and I don't think about it, but like I become in charge and I'm directing and stuff. And because the people that you're videoing or taking pictures of, they want you to tell them what to do because they don't know what you can see. Right. And I feel like if I were in that situation, I would want someone to tell me exactly what they want me to do.
Right, absolutely.
I don't want to have to guess, what are you wanting me to do? Do you want me to look up right now? Do you want me to turn to the side, walk? Tell me exactly what you want me to do.
Right. So, yeah, because not everybody are models, right? Yeah. Not everybody. Yeah, because when you
and even if you are a model, if I've never worked with you before, I don't know what you're expecting.
Right. So. Yeah. Even when family is in, because I've seen you work with over here. I've seen you do photo shoot with families. So, there goes Jessica doing her thing. So, how often, when you don't have clients, how often do you practice with it? Do you still practice your skills with the camera? Like you go out and...
So I have kids for a reason. But it's funny because I take pictures of them, not as much as I used to when they were younger, and I practice more. But when I do want to take a picture of them and I have an idea in mind, they're really good most of the time about knowing what I want. So we can be in and out in 5 minutes. Sometimes if my kids are being a little silly, I'll have to, get it together. You want to be here all day. But I do practice with that. If there's if I'm doing newborn and there's like a certain pose that I want to practice, because when you're in a newborn session, you never know how the baby's going to react or be, if they're going to be fussy or sleepy. So I don't always get to practice that one pose that I want. So I could, if I have friends that have little babies, be like, hey, can I borrow your baby for an hour? You know, you can come, and I just want to practice this wrap or this pose. So always practicing. Wildflowers out in the field, I'll just go out there and just take pictures of that.
Yeah, landscape.
Yeah. I'm not a big landscape photographer just because that takes a different eye, I think, than with people.
Right.
But just for my own self, sometimes if I just see something I want to go, let's go take a picture of that. Macro is really good with bugs and flowers and getting those close-up shots. Yeah.
So you said you practice with your kid. Who's more of a natural model, your daughter or your son?
Definitely my son. He has his face down, so he knows exactly the way to do his face that he likes and that I like. But you know, he's 14, so it took years to get there. At first, he's silly, and you know, he's my kid. I'm going to take pictures of whatever he looks like because I love him. But then when I really was looking for a certain shot, I would just guide him, and he knew that if he did exactly what I asked him to do, he can be done really fast. So, and he just learned how to do that. And my daughter, for the most part, she's really good too, but sometimes she'll just be in a mood where she just doesn't want to do it. So I just get what I get.
My daughter, she's 3 years old, and every time we try to take pictures, she's always trying to get in front of the camera.
Oh yeah,
she's natural. I guess you're a natural model, right?
Fun.
Yeah. So she's not at that shy stage. I thought she would be more shy because you know, I mean, COVID, kids have always been at home. But she's very confident. She likes playing with other kids, and
that's just
always saying
her personality.
That's her personality. Yeah, because me and my wife are introverts. So
So where did that come from?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of just out of nowhere, I guess. But what other challenges did you face? So actually, I want to go back. So when you had your first paid client, were you scared? Were you like intimidated? Were you like, oh, what am I getting myself into?
Well, the first, I was taking it for fun and I wasn't expecting payment, and then they just paid me after. So then I didn't have those nerves to think about that at first. And then when I really started advertising, okay, I want people to pay me for this, I was very, very cheap. I was a little nervous. Like, what happens? What if my camera messes up in the middle of this? Or what if the pictures are terrible? Or what if, like, I have no idea what I'm doing?
Yeah, you get all these what ifs.
Yes. And so I had to just, again, like, I'm thinking of those things beforehand, but then as soon as, like, I get there and the camera goes in my face, my brain just shuts off all of those thoughts. And I just, like, go in this automatic photographer mode, and it just takes over, and so I don't think about it anymore. And then it's afterwards, you're like looking through the pictures, like, please, I hope that these are okay. And then part of me is like, well, they didn't pay like a ton of money, so if I have to refund them or if I have to redo it, it's not a big deal. So I wouldn't say it happened a whole bunch, but you know, it's always there in the back of your mind. I just have to learn to push that aside and feel confident, and I know what I'm doing. So
right. Sometimes what is that saying? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. There's another saying: you fake it till you become it. So
eventually you will become it.
Yeah,
if you
eventually,
keep pushing those thoughts away, and you just keep doing it and doing your best, and eventually it's like second nature.
Right. See, that's the thing with my problem too. Is when I did videography, when I'm doing videography, I have that imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not this type of person. You know, I'm not this creative person. But you are. Like, when you're willing to learn something that you're really passionate about, you are being that videographer. So
and the people who you're videoing or taking pictures of, they don't know any different. They just want beautiful pictures of their family or beautiful videos of their event or whatever's happening. Right. And if you can just deliver that emotion to them, it doesn't matter if you've been doing it for a month or for 10 years.
Right. So funny story. So I did this re-edit for a martial arts school, and before I released it on social media, I had my editor critique it, and he had a lot of critiques. He was like, "Oh, that transition didn't really flow well. You know, those movements wasn't really got that good, whatever." So as a learning editor, as a videographer, you know, I take those critiques and I take it as positive. Like, all right, there's things I could, you know, still learn more, right? Because you're never gonna reach perfection, right? But you still have to have a level of standard. But anyway, so I sent it to my client. and he still loved it.
Yeah, because as a client, they don't see the things that professionals see.
Yeah, exactly.
Even like with pictures, I'm like, oh, she looks a little green to me, to my
Right,
color.
right.
But the people just see themselves and their families, and they don't see all the technical things that we see as we're like picking away everything that we're doing.
Right, exactly. And, you know, every time I watch my videos too, it's just like, oh man, you know what? I could have done that better, or, oh, I could have shot that better. You know, you get that too with your photography.
Oh,
It's like,
yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But you take it and you're like, okay, next time I'm going to remember to do it differently.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always a learning and challenge to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Good, awesome conversation. So what other challenges do you face like day to day with photography other than being an entrepreneur or learning entrepreneurship?
I mean, sometimes it can be a work-life balance.
Yeah.
I do have busy seasons, and I feel like I have to take time to edit, or they're going to pile up. But also, my kids have a lot of things going on, or we have, friends want to hang out. They're about to move, and we want to do all these things, and I have to figure out, how am I going to balance this? How am I going to have a social life and a family life, but also keep up with my business, because I have high expectations for myself. Like
Right.
I have, I want to have these pictures turned around in a certain time, and I do not do late. And I'm always going to be before I say, like, so if I tell you the pictures are going to be ready in 2 weeks, you're going to have them before 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
So I just, sometimes trying to make sure I find that balance and make time for the people that are important in my life.
Yeah. When are you most busiest? Like what seasons?
Fall, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, that's when all the colors come in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And then everyone's getting ready for Christmas cards. So
Right,
all the family
right.
pictures, which I'm like, you could take pictures of your family through the rest of the year and still use them for Christmas cards. But
Right.
at fall time, it picks up, and I have to be careful not to overbook, because then I don't want to feel burned out or
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I have to work on these again today.
Right.
I always want to have that joy of it. So I have to make sure that I, keep it in perspective to what I know I realistically can handle.
Right. Yeah, because you have a daytime job.
Oh, yeah.
You go home, you got to go
yeah.
edit, you got to spend time with the family, you got to cook, right?
dinner.
You got to cook dinner.
Go grocery shopping at some point.
Yeah, spend time with the husband. You
Yeah.
guys went to Napa recently. That was pretty cool. That was pretty dope.
On Saturday, it was.
Saturday.
We went to this chocolate shop in downtown Napa, and they did a chocolate and wine pairing tasting, and that was really fun. And then they have this in Napa, tiki inspired restaurant.
Oh.
So we went to go eat there. It was like Hawaiian food. It was really good.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like Napa, or even just Bay Area in general, is just a good place to be
So
a
many
photographer
things
and
to do.
videographer.
Oh, yeah, it's
Especially
beautiful.
Napa here, they have
Yeah.
weddings all the time. So.
Oh yeah, in the vineyards, I do family shoots in vineyards.
Yeah.
Or in the fields with the hills behind you, or at the beach, tons at the beach, because they're beautiful beaches here.
Yeah, nice. All right, so we're gonna take a couple minutes break.
Okay.
From a word from our sponsor.
Okay.
All right.
Need fingerprinting? There's only one local live scan company to trust. Ameriprints Live Scan Fingerprint Services. Here's Ameriprints founder Alan Cox.
I opened Ameriprints back in 2005 as the first private service provider for live scan fingerprinting in Sonoma County. We have perfected the process and ensured our community a safe, secure, educated, and most importantly, a qualified business to handle confidential fingerprint information. I have over 20 years of active duty military experience dealing directly with background checks and the live scan process. My employees and I are thoroughly trained and utilize the latest technology to ensure your fingerprints and personal data are delivered immediately and securely to the California Department of Justice. The minute you walk through the door, you'll feel confident knowing fingerprinting is our only business, and your information will be properly processed.
Ameriprints, with locations in Santa Rosa, Petaluma, San Rafael, and Rohnert Park. Go to ameriprints.com or call 707-588-9866.
All right, we are back. Thank you from our sponsor, Ameriprints. So, Jessica, I know that I realized that you actually have your own studio, right? Like your own built-in studio, huh?
Yes. So everything travels, or I can set up at my house, or I can go to a client's house and set up. I used to, when we lived in Oregon, I had a whole like a garage that I set everything up. I have a client closet, so I have dresses and props and all kinds of things, and lights and backdrops. So I do studio work as well as outdoor work.
Okay, right on. All right, so I got 3 questions for you.
Okay.
All right, so where do you see yourself in the next, let's say, estimate 10 years with your photography business?
I would love to have, in a dream world, I will have my dream home, and I want lots of land so I can have, a spot with the beautiful trees and have tree swings and have a little lake and then have wildflowers and do all the things so I can have all the clients come to all the different parts of my land and do pictures there. And have like a little studio shed so I can do, when I do newborns or indoor work, I have a space set up dedicated just for that. Yeah. And I would, I don't mind traveling a little bit for photo shoots. If someone wants to take me to Hawaii, I will be all over that. Yeah. I don't have the desire to travel the world all the time. That's not really, I like to be home and with my family and then do the photography. But I would love to just, have a very successful business, making a living off of that. My husband will probably be retired from the Coast Guard then. And then I would love to be the main income and that we could live off of that income from the photography.
So it can become a lucrative.
Oh yeah, it can. You have to buckle down and really figure out the business part and, get your sales going. I find right now we're kind of nomadic, right? We're moving every few years. That it's kind of a hurdle there because by the time I'm going now and I'm booking up consistently and I'm having a lot of clients, and then in a year I'm going to move. And it takes a good 6 to 8 months in a new place to really get going.
Just to get that momentum again.
Yeah, just to get going again and start getting those clients. And then 3 years later, we move again. So it's kind of like on repeat. Right. So I feel like it's a little more challenging for me to really build it to where I want to. Yeah. But in 10 years, we'll be, finishing up the Coast Guard and I can really settle down and really work on building that up to where I want it to be.
Yeah, nice. Can you see yourself, just to piggyback from that topic, can you see yourself building a creative team of photographers?
Oh, I would love to have a second shooter.
Okay.
Someone who can come in, we can do, who has the same style, same editing, the same values that I do. Right. And then we can take on more clients. I would love to have a person dedicated just for sales. Okay. Who does all my selling and marketing. Because marketing is not my strong suit. That's where I really struggle. Yeah. And so I really would just have, I don't want a huge team. I don't want to have to manage, 20 people. I would love to have a small little 3 or 4 group person where we work together and we really can just build it up. Yeah.
Landrum Studios. Yeah. There you go. LLC. LLC. Yeah. So we went over, photography business can be a lucrative endeavor if you really buckle down. Last topic, or what advice would you want to give to a person who wants to get into a creative field like photography? What advice would you want to give to them?
Definitely, go with your heart and your passion for that and let that be a good starting point, and then just constantly learn all the things that you need. If you want to be a business, then learn the business aspect. Learn constantly new things for your photography or your art, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Just always learn new techniques, new things to make it better. For me, I feel like customer service goes a long way, and serving other people. Like that's what I'm doing here is with my photography is I'm serving other people. Right. And to me, that's really where my heart is to serve people. And so, if I'm not doing it for somebody else, if I'm not making these memories for other people, then what am I doing it for? And I'm not in it anymore. So constantly find your passion, why are you doing this? Yep. And always keep going for that. And there are going to be times when you second guess, is this really something that I want to do? Oh, is it going to work? I don't know, what's happening, but you have to just keep pushing through those doubts and just keep finding your why and keep working for it.
I think we go through doubts every day. Oh yeah. Because I'm going through it right now. So it's big. Yeah. It's just this, it comes in waves sometimes too, Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's Jessica Landrum, everyone. Before we finish the show, where can people find you? Social media, website?
Oh yeah, I have a Facebook page, Landrum Studios Photography, Instagram Landrum Studios, website landrumstudios.com.
Okay. And you're on Facebook too, right?
Yep. I have. Yeah. If you just like put in Facebook in the search bar, Landrum Studios Photography, it should pop up.
Yeah, if you're in the Sonoma County area or the Greater Bay Area, and you need an awesome photographer for families or just in general,
Yeah.
hit up Jessica Landrum. She's the best. So, all right, Jessica, this was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, we'll see you all next time. Thanks. Please consider supporting this podcast if you enjoyed this episode. If you wish to donate monthly, go to anchor.fm/OneCreate. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, Venmo at OneCreate Productions. Your donation is greatly appreciated. It will aid in the growth of this podcast and the development of a community of inspired creators and entrepreneurs. If you donate, we will thank you with a shout out on future episodes or a personal message from one of the show's guests, the hosts, Jay, Mike, or Zach. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all again next time.